In the heart of a lush valley stood a small but fertile farm owned by an old farmer named Tobias. Known for his wise ways and hard work, Tobias lived a life of modest means. Despite his farm's productivity, he was not a man of wealth in the eyes of those who value gold more than soil. His real treasure, as he often told his only son, Ethan, was the land itself and the food it provided. Ethan, however, harbored dreams different from his father's. Influenced by tales of the city and the shimmer of wealth, he often expressed his restlessness about leading a seemingly uneventful life tied down to a piece of land. He longed for adventure and the opulence that the world beyond promised. One evening, as they sat by the fire, Ethan said, "Father, have you ever thought there might be more to life than this?" Beyond our fields and fences, his eyes sparkled with the curiosity that often accompanies youth. Tobias, understanding his son's feelings, nodded slowly. "Yes, I have. But son, every place has its battles. Ours are against the weeds and the weather. In the city, it's against time and tide. Here we might not have gold, but we have peace and food in plenty." Dissatisfied with his father's response, Ethan decided he would leave the farm to seek what he thought were greater fortunes in the city. The next morning, he packed his meager belongings and with a heavy heart, bade his father farewell. Tobias watched him go, sadness mingling with hope that one day his son would understand the value of the legacy left behind. Months turned into years, and while Ethan explored city life, finding jobs in bustling markets, he never quite found the success he had dreamed of. The glittering life of riches seemed always just out of reach, and slowly the harsh realities of city life began to wear on him. The costs of living were high, the friendships shallow, and the pace exhausting. As each day passed, Ethan's thoughts increasingly returned to the calm and bounty of his father's farm. One spring, when the blossoms were in full bloom and the trees swayed with the promise of a fruitful year, Ethan decided he could no longer bear the emptiness of his pursuits. Feeling defeated yet hopeful, he journeyed back to the farm, uncertain of the welcome he would receive. As he approached, he saw the silhouette of his father in the fields, bent over a row of young plants. The sight stirred old memories of his childhood, the smell of the earth, the feel of seedlings between his fingers, the sound of his father's voice explaining the mysteries of growth and life. Tobias looked up and recognizing his son, his face broke into a wide, forgiving smile. Dropping his tools, he ran to Ethan, embracing him tightly. "Welcome home, son," Tobias said, his voice thick with emotion. Over the next few days, as they worked side by side, Tobias listened to Ethan's stories of the city with a patient ear. In turn, Ethan listened, truly listened, to his father's wisdom about the land. "What made you return?" Ethan and Tobias asked one evening as they watched the sunset paint the sky in hues of gold and orange. Ethan sighed, a sound of relief mixed with a newfound understanding. "I searched everywhere for riches, but found only mirages of them. Here, though, the riches are real, even if they aren't made of gold. I miss the peace, the honesty of labor, and yes, the real wealth of our land." Tobias nodded, placing a gentle hand on his son's shoulder. "The land," he said, "teaches us patience and gives us the nourishment to sustain our bodies and souls. Its wealth is in its yield and in the joy it offers to those who care for it." From that day on, Ethan worked the farm with his father, no longer dreaming of gold but investing his heart in the soil. In time, he too came to understand that true wealth was not what filled the pocket but what filled the heart and the barn. Years later, Ethan, now with a family of his own, would teach his children the same lessons. Tobias's farm continued to prosper under the careful stewardship of generations who knew the worth of the land and the love it required.